Hi Maya. I wanted to give you a critique on your drawing over on the 5-pencil method community. You had made the comment that you thought you were getting better. I think you are. I think you're doing quite well in many areas. And I wanted to help you with one of the common things that I think that will help you and a lot of other people. If I can just point out a few of the things that help you get a good proportion, some of the basic elements that will help you establish, the right angles and proportion to your drawing. And when you have that opportunity, you're going to feel a lot better about your drawing, and a lot of other things are going to fall into place. I think you've done a wonderful job with the hair, and there are a couple things that I will show you if I have a chance, about that. But you show just tremendous ability and promise if, again, I can guide you in just a couple places. So one of the things that I want to really establish when I'm using a reference, and I have this obviously next to the drawing, is I want to be able to keep this reference perfectly parallel. Now, one of the things that I want to be able to take advantage of, and the straight edge and divider method is a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to, if you want to draw things freehand, to get a couple things anchored down to reference from, and it will just make sure that you're off in the right direction with your drawing. So I want to just suggest, I don't know what happens here, let's see if I can get this thing working right. Okay, when you have your reference right next to your drawing, or what you're going to start as a drawing, you can now take this and run it up and down the side or at the bottom. Maybe it's on the outside of your paper, but make sure that your reference is exactly lined up parallel with your paper. And then everything you have here as an angle, you can go ahead and reference on your drawing. If you want to say, okay, I wonder if one eye is higher than the other, that you will run this right on through, and it will go right in. I better go ahead and make this an arrow so you can see it a little better. But you'll have an opportunity to go from maybe the corner of the eye and run your straight edge right through this, keeping your picture parallel, and you will be able to establish that tilt, that angle, because one eye is a little higher than the other. The same thing with the mouth. You can go from a corner to the corner of the mouth, and you can establish that base angle so that you can get your mouth tilted right. There are a lot of other angles that you'll probably see in here if you start watching for them, and one is right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you this angle here, this one here. There's a lot of angles that you can use to reference if you have your picture lined up perfectly straight and parallel with your drawing paper or your drawing that you're developing. Now, you might want to go ahead and print out a smaller print so that it can be out of the way and you can see it a lot better. Use that 18-inch acrylic straight edge if you have it. But when you establish those initial angles, even from nostril to nostril, from where the ear is to something else, you can create all kinds of angles that will help you see how things line up. Now, when I'm looking at my reference like this, I like to be able to establish where is the center. And this gives you an additional opportunity to find out what measurements you're going to want to have. And you can see whether maybe when the faces turn a little to one side, that you're going to see a whole lot more. You're going to see a whole lot of difference between this side to the center and this side to the center, because we start seeing the side of the face. We see almost no ear over here, but we do see the ear over here, and there's a reason for that. And so the equivalent right here is probably somewhere in here. And then all this is extra. So it's really important because every single solitary feature starts acting in the same way. We're going to see more mouth on this side than we are on this side of the line. We're going to see more from the center over, or less from the center line over to this side of the nose than we are from this to the other side of the nose, because we start seeing more of that one side of each one of those features. So the distance probably between the center line to this line is going to be less here than it is over here. It's wider. And we go on like that all the way through, and it gives you a place to use your divider, and you can start doing some comparisons. So when you have a chance then to establish this line and a few of these great opportunities to establish your proportion, then you can start measuring from one thing to another and getting maybe the height of the head. And so if you were to take this from here to the top of the head, and you wanted to see in your reference how it measures to something else, then you would see what else it would measure to. So you might come from here up to here and then see that that's an equivalent. So over here in your drawing, you might very well have a head that's quite a bit shorter because it looks like it got a little bit high. Now, one thing that I do when I'm laying out a drawing, and I hope this is making sense to you, not only do I have angles and the opportunity to establish a center line to make some initial measurements that help keep your proportions and your perspective and the way the head is turned right, but you can start also looking at things and how they line up. And as you see this straight up and down, you will notice that that edge of the nose may very well line up with this, and this is way inside the edge of that flared nostril. And so when you start looking at things in grids and you see how things line up, then you can do exactly the same in your drawing. So see, if I have this corner of the eye, or I want to use this tooth, I'm going to want to see where it lines up. So if I did the same thing here and came right straight down, you'll see that this is lining up over, a little differently. That this nose probably comes in here, and because we want to look and see how it lines up with the corner of the eye. All I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily have to be those things, but those are anchor points, and there are many other ones that if you get used to lining things up and seeing where things are perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal, you're going to start coming up with a lot of opportunities to get this thing online. Now, when you use your divider, you may also want to take a measurement, like say from the edge of the lip out here, just like you did from the eye, or I just did from the eye out to the outer edge of the head, to decide what the actual size is going to be. So just as much as it might change this, I might want to take a look at the distance here and compare it, in my reference. I want to take the distance here and try to find something that I can use as a reference. Maybe it's the distance between these two eyes. And now I have a better opportunity to put this chin down or the jawline a little farther away from the mouth. Also, you have, again, these wonderful angles that when you're looking at this and you run this up and down with your picture, you're going to have a chance to see how this is actually going to line up and be a different angle. But every angle is true, so it's something you can always count on. If you keep that picture parallel, you're going to have a chance to have every angle give you a great opportunity to make sure that you have that wonderful little tilt to the head, or a character smile to that person that may have always a little bit of one corner up a little higher than another, or whatever it happens to be. I think that you will have an opportunity to come in here and find out that maybe the neck isn't quite as long, because you'll now have a chance to come through and pick out something that is going to be a good reference. And now I have that down too low, but maybe from the chin over to something that you want to reference that's going to help you with a length of the neck. If I come across here, I'm going to see that I don't need it that long. And so it's going to help you, again, get things in proportion. And if I'm looking at the neck and seeing how it lines up here, where does it come on the mouth? And where does it come with the eye? Well, it looks like I could almost use that same reference that I used for the nose and come clear down and have the opportunity to find out where I am there and then take a distance here. If I change this jawline, it will change the distance here, but it's very possible that this isn't as low there. And so some of these things are going to start changing the proportion opportunities you have. And you might find that your shoulders are a little different, the tilt of the head is a little different, the tilt of the neck, and it will make it, again, make more sense, and you'll have more and more references as you correct some things and get them online. You'll be able to reference those and compare them to something else. So if you found the angle to your eyes and you started developing the eyes, those eyes become a reference for other parts of your drawing. And you can always come in and find an angle. You can make them up. You can see an angle here. You can see an angle here. You can always line something up in your reference and then run that straight edge down, through your picture, and make sure again that your reference is exactly parallel, and it is going to be a wonderful advantage. You don't necessarily have to have something traced out. Even if you wanted to do that, you can still use this to make sure you're on track and correct things that you might have forgotten or gotten off track on. And I just think that you're going to be amazed when you start seeing some of the things happen to your picture that you could take advantage of in these simple ways: straight edge and divider, looking for comparative measurements. Now, there's one other thing about the hair. If you look in here, you'll see that it's lighter on the top probably. And so I would suggest that you try to come in here and add a little bit more tone and pay attention where your light source is. Otherwise, you start changing the contour of your picture. And so you might find that you don't have quite as much light in here. It might be more at the top. And conversely, you can also come in and actually lighten up some areas too. Let me see if I can go ahead and just do a little bit here where we can go ahead and lighten up some of the darker areas and make sure that they are going into the light. The rules of light work wonderful. You can go ahead and look at those in the free tutorials over on 5pencilmethod.com. And then for help on laying out your drawing to reestablish, I hope I explained this okay, but even if I didn't, the how to lay out a drawing is over there on 5pencilmethod.com as well in the tips and tricks. And you'll see that little video. In fact, it's a two-part video on how to lay out a drawing, and it shows you an eye that I laid out, but it gives you the idea of how to use your straight edge and your divider in a very simple way, and so that it'll help reinforce what I've just talked about, and you can see the correlation. You can see how they compare, and I think it's really going to help you. And again, boy, I wish that a lot of people had the technical ability that you have in doing your stroke. You're doing a wonderful tapered stroke. If you can get some of these principles down and some of these things that are going to help you tremendously, I think you're going to be so excited. And I am really happy you shared it. I love to see what you're doing. You have some wonderful contours and some wonderful values going on in your picture and good contrast. And I'm just looking forward to see what you do when you post your new pictures. Even if it isn't this one, maybe it's a brand new picture on over there on the 5 Pencil Method community. So thanks, Maya. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about your picture and for your request, and we'll talk to you later.